What is going on? I am Cole. Welcome back to my channel, and today we're doing my most anticipated comics of the week. So if you want to see what those are, make sure you stick through the intro. My most anticipated comics for August 10th, 2022. The one thing I like to start with is that I use League of Comic Geek to go through and figure out what I'm picking for this segment. Unfortunately, because of that, I'm a little bit early. Some of these stuff might get delayed or might not show up during the week for whatever reason. So I just wanted to let you know what resource I use in case you want to also use it, and also so that you know that if there are anything that is a little bit off, this is the reason why. But as always, I like to keep that information there just because I don't want you going to your shop and being confused if I pick something and it doesn't happen to be there for you. But let's get into these books. The first book I'm going to pick is actually a book that I dropped off my pull list, but I think I'm going to add it back just for this final issue. So it is A Town Called Terror #5. This is the final issue into the arc, so I really have enjoyed this book, but as I've tried to consolidate some of my reading and what I'm pulling, I realized this is a book that reads fairly quickly, so it's probably going to be something that is way better for me to get in trades. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this final issue just so that I have the full arc of it and then start picking up the trades in the future. I think that, Steve Niles has been doing something pretty cool in this book. I really like the art. It's a little bit kind of muddied down, and it's probably not for everyone, but I have enjoyed this book so far. The only reason why I am actually dropping it from my pull list is just because I think it reads pretty fast, and it's one of those that I think might just be more enjoyable in the trade format. I know that a lot of stuff is, but sometimes when everything is fairly quick read, it just doesn't seem worth it to grab some of the individual issues. One of the things that I had mentioned in the beginning of the video is that I say that I use League of Comic Geeks because sometimes stuff isn't right. And unfortunately, this book is not right. I ended up already getting it in my possession, and I've already read it, and I loved it. But I didn't really want to edit this out because I figured I could still use this to showcase. And who knows, I know Dark Horse has had some weird shipping issues, so it is possible that maybe my shop released this early. And if that is the case, then my shop actually didn't really get this, and this is all just a lie. My next book up is Mind Management, bootleg #2. I love that first issue. If you haven't heard me talk about Mind Management is one of my favorite books to come out. Matt Kindt is one of my all-time favorite authors, so just getting back into this world has been very fun. I really enjoyed this. While I think this is a book that you can pick up if you have not read Mind Management, I don't know that it's necessarily worth it. I don't think that you'll get as much. You can definitely read this book because it kind of takes it's a side story. It definitely, the first issue gave a good amount of backstory to kind of what happened, but I just think that there's a lot of unknowns that, I've only read the first issue and I don't know how it's going to pan out, but I would say that this is, for me, such a good and recommended book that I would say it is not worth it to not read that. So if you haven't read Mind Management, I know that they have, I think, 3 omnibuses out there that you can go out and grab. I would recommend that. I know I have the hardcovers, and there's 6 of those. If you can find those are also very good. But I recommend checking out Mind Management and then come back to Mind Management bootleg. We're into the number ones, and I think that we've got something that is kind of a little funny, but I'm pretty interested in seeing this. So what we have is Miss Marvel and Wolverine #1. If you read the G. Willow Wilson version of Miss Marvel, there is a part where she teams up with Wolverine, and that was a pretty fun thing. It looks like these are going to be kind of one-shots where Miss Marvel is hanging out with people. From what I see here, it continues with Moon Knight as the next character that she's working with. So I think this is going to be pretty fun. I really enjoy Miss Marvel. She's one of my favorite of the newer characters that have came out So being able to see her with somebody like Wolverine is always fun. They had kind of this weird thing where they went back and forth, and I think that Wolverine was the person that brought her to the Inhumans to let them know after, meeting with her in the sewer where they worked together. But I'm excited. I love when Miss Marvel books come out, and this one is going to be written by Jody Houser, who I am not very familiar with, but let's hope that this is an awesome book. Next up, we have a book that is written by somebody who I think gets talked about all the time in the comic book community, and I have not read a ton of their stuff, and that is Terry Moore. The book I'm talking about is called Parker Girls #1. You might know Terry from writing Strangers in Paradise, and there are a bunch of other girls. I first looked at this and I was like, I thought it said Paper Girls for a second, but then, you kind of see it. And I was like, I saw Terry Moore's name, and this is probably not a book that I'd normally pick up, but there's so much talk. I know that, Card Wolf had recently talked about some more indie style books, and this seems to be one of those. I'm not very sure that my shop will have this on Wednesday, but I'm going to probably shoot them a DM today as we speak and see if they're getting this, because if they're not, I'm going to see if they can somehow pick up issue 1 still and add it to my pull list, because I think Terry Moore is one of those people that I don't give enough reads to. But I read, I think, at least 2 or 3 of the first trades of Strangers in Paradise, and I really enjoyed it. It just did kind of that slice of life thing. Very good. And yeah, I know that it's one of those books that so many people always seem to talk about. So, I had to add this one to it just because I think Terry Moore is one of those authors that so many people like and respect, that I also think that it should be something that I should check out. Now we're to the final part of this, and this is kind of a segment that I used to sort of do in this, where it was, you let me know if you think I should be getting this book. And that book is Predator #1. Predator's back. He's at Marvel. Hunt, kill, repeat. That's what they say here. In the new future, a young girl sees her family slaughtered by the deadliest and most feared hunter in the universe, a predator. Years later, though, her ship is barely holding together, food is running short, and Theta won't stop stalking this space way until Yatja Monster, who killed her family, is dead. Or she is. This is written by Ed Brisson with art from Kev Walker. I don't know. This is pretty cool. I've never really been a huge Predator fan or even Alien fan, but Predator's back at Marvel. This is issue 1. Do you think it's worth picking up for somebody who is not a big fan of this franchise? I don't know. I'm asking you if you can leave a comment down below and you let me know if you think it is worth it for me to pick up Predator 1. I know a lot of people are probably going to say no. Some people are probably going to say yes, and that's what I want to see. So once again, those were my most anticipated comics for August 10th, 2022. If you have something that you think that I missed, or you think that there's something huge out there that I did not talk about, please let me know down below. The reason that I do this is I just like letting people know some of the books that I get. I usually try and add in some #1s just to keep fresh and let people know what #1s are coming out. And but I also like to know what you like. Is there a cover you think is just awesome, or there's just something else that you think I'm missing? Let me know. Sometimes I try to make these a little bit easier. I don't try and put stuff in the middle of the arc. I know that is sometimes hard, but I want to kind of give ideas for people. So if you're new and you just want to get to a comic shop, maybe pick up a book. Hopefully most of these should be at least slightly helpful. The first 2 probably not, but the final 3 are probably all books that I think people can pick up and read depending on what they're into. So once again, I have been Cole, and these have been my most anticipated comics for August 10th, 2022. Peace. My most anticipated comics for August 10th, 2022.